And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. And our latest episode, it's the state of pro wrestling for November 2023. John Orlando from the PVD cast and I cover the world of pro wrestling in one great action-packed hour. And yes, we already knew what the demise would be for LA Knight in Saudi Arabia. And if you've already know the results, you know what that is. LA Knight, no, not this time around, unfortunately. So we talk about that because we thought it was a little bit too much too soon and a whole much more as far as the world of pro wrestling. So go ahead and check that out today. Inside Sports Fantasy Football. Chris Ardieri from the Domination Sports Nation and I, we cover the world of the NFL, including the latest dumpster fire known as the Las Vegas Raiders, which Magic Man and I were talking about during playback about how it's costing Mark Davis $85 million to fire the head coach and the GM. So we talk about that disaster plus what's going on in Week 9 in the NFL. So go ahead and check that out as well. Hopefully Joe Soro and his dating advice will be here on the show as we hopefully promised here earlier today. But he also goes ahead and owns a company, Simblades with a Y.com. And also, of course, he's Ox1947 at LakersBall.com. Speaking of great Lakers websites, you got to go ahead and check out. There's one that's going to be very angry here in the not too distant future. And that is Lakerholics.com. Our good friends, Laker Tom. You know, Laker Tom is really just angering up a storm right now, as only he can do. Talk about old man Clint Eastwood on the lawn. Yes, that's old man on the lawn right now, Laker Tom. And Jamie Sweet, go ahead and check out what they're doing today at Lakerholics.com. Plus our good friends, Empire Jeff TV. You know he won't have good things to say about the Lakers' effort today. Go ahead and check them out there. Lakers in 5, you know they also won't have good things to say. Daniel Berry Sports Highlights won't show any highlights of this game for the Lakers. And then, of course, also as well, John McCallan. Go ahead and follow those channels. And speaking of subscribing, please subscribe today. Click on the little Joe in the corner right there with the beady eyes, the one that looks like they just lost by, somewhere around what we lost today. Go ahead and check that out. Click on the beady eyes of Joe, and then you'll be subscribed and get the latest notifications on when we go live with the latest Lakers Fast Break podcast. Well, the Lakers heading out on a 4-game road trip. Looked like they were going to go ahead after a great win against the Clippers. Seemingly could go ahead with a lot of momentum, get a good win today. Let's see if that could snowball into a good start for the team, which we talked about at the beginning of the season, what they need to do in their first 10 games, what they need to do. Well, unfortunately, the extra day of rest over their opponent, Orlando, didn't matter. The fact that Orlando played a game, in less time, because they played a game on Thursday in Utah, that didn't matter. Because today, the Lakers gave no effort on either end of the floor. Poor execution on offense and no effort on the defensive end, especially on the boards. They were absolutely miserable rebounding the ball today. And despite AD giving you 7 blocks, 28 points, and 13 rebounds, the rest of the team, not too good. LeBron James, still an efficient 8 of 15, 24 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, but still no effort on the boards as they got rebounded 51-40. Second chance points were absolutely abysmal. We're going to bring that up here in a little bit. I know Magic Man, all throughout our playback.tv/ Lakers Fast Break live watch party, was absolutely livid at the way the Lakers unfortunately gave little effort on the boards. Terrible, terrible game for the Lakers, and they lose really after having a small lead in the first quarter, but basically being run off the floor after that. They were down into at times into the low 20s as far as what they were behind. And this game was pretty much never in doubt after the second quarter, with the Lakers unfortunately losing 120-101. Very handy win for the now 4-2 Orlando Magic, while the Lakers are 3-3. And here today, first man up, first man here. You know what? It's great to have him here. He told you he was going to be here win or lose. He was actually here the other day when the Lakers won. So he's here when the Lakers lose as well. It is Alfred Ezman of Orlando Magic Daily. And Alfred, great to have you here. Your thoughts on the game? I can't make any excuses. The Lakers had a starter out, but Orlando had two starters out. The Lakers played on Wednesday. Orlando played on Thursday. So really, again, absolutely no excuses. I'm putting a lot of this on Darvin Ham. I've been reluctant to go ahead and blame Darvin Ham for a lot of things, like unlike some of the other individuals in our group and our audience and what have you. Today, I think it's all about the coaching staff and what they didn't get done, because it led to a lack of effort and it led to a terrible loss and really a thumping by the Orlando Magic today.
Yeah, Gerald, Gerald the Magic Man, one thing I saw throughout the game tonight that's really it had me like kind of questioning what was going on was the offensive rebound differential was at some points absolutely atrocious in favor of the Magic. It was, yeah. I looked at half and I think it was 11-1 in favor of Orlando, and Orlando had 17 points off of those offensive rebounds. And that's the difference in the lead that they had going to the half as they were up 16. I think I do agree with you. I think as far as the Lakers go, the coaching staff, they needed to do a better job of being like, hey, guys, we need to show better effort, on the boards, particularly the offensive end, but even the defensive end, as Orlando out-rebounded them 51-40 tonight. I think that probably was the key defining moment in this game was the rebound differential. And I got to say, as far as the Magic goes with how they were on offense, I've said it a million times on here when you guys have had me on. The key to this team being good is Paolo and Franz both having good games. And what did Paolo and Franz do tonight? They combined for 51 points. Paolo had 25 and Franz had 26. So whenever you get those kind of numbers, good things tend to happen for Orlando. And I was very, concerned with both Markelle and Wendell being out. That's our starting point guard and center, two of the arguably the most key positions on the basketball floor at any given point. But Anthony Black and Goga Bitadze went out there and they did their thing. And I got to say, it was a good night for the Magic as far as the Lakers go. I think at some point I remember seeing a shot would go up for Orlando, or a shot would go up for LA rather, and it would come off the rim and there would be all black jerseys around the ball as opposed to the Lakers jerseys, and it just didn't seem like they had a presence on the offensive boards as much.
I think it's funny, though, that of your starting lineup, even though Franz Wagner had a good game at 26-5, he was the only one in minus. As you see, everybody else in the starting lineup, Banchero plus 23, Bitadze plus 27, Suggs plus 26, and Black plus 32. And Wagner with a -8, so that sticks out like a sore thumb. But again, like you said, when they have good games, they're very hard to beat. And that's something with Banchero we talked about when last we spoke, or last when you were on the show. We had mentioned how Banchero was struggling to start off the season. He then had a good game in Utah and has seemingly picked it up and continued on that today.
Yeah, very efficient from the field, 9 of 15, 7 rebounds, 10 assists. He looked good. He looked really good. He was confident in his drives to the basket. There were some times I saw him, he would get the ball and he would have a lot of open floor around him. I think he is very good when he uses open floor. Whenever I've gotten to the point now where when Paolo has the ball in his hands, he needs to be able to make a play. And most of the times for me, that's scoring. And I saw multiple times tonight where he would go up against guys like Wood, Davis, and just maybe not necessarily make the shot, but put up a good attempt towards the rim. And I think he did a very good job tonight with that. And also dishing the ball. I'm looking at the box score, and 10 assists shocked me. I did not think he was passing that much, but a double-double out of Paolo to this extent is very nice. We saw it in Utah. He had the game-winning shot in Utah to beat the Jazz with around 14 seconds left. When he's getting it going, good things tend to happen, and it helps that Franz had a good game. But again, Paolo having games like this is what the Magic need to put themselves in the win column.
Also here today, a good man indeed. You got to go ahead and check him out anytime he is here on the Lakers Fast Break channel. Does such an outstanding job for us pregame. Also as well, what he does for us at playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. I'm going to give him all the credit in the world. Him and Nick really carried it strong today, despite what they went after it like the Lakers should have went after it, and unfortunately they didn't. But the Lakers, the Lakers didn't, but they certainly did. It is Magic Man Sean Grice, the madman from Toronto. He did get out of Toronto traffic to stop on by, no matter how mad he is at this team. Magic Man, great to have you here. Just a very listless effort, which, again, there's no reason in the world. I understand the Lakers had 4 players out of the mix. We talked about Prince. Everybody said, beforehand in Lakerholics, we can't have Prince in the starting lineup anymore. We can't have Prince in there. Well, Reddish was in there, and obviously he struggled today. We had Max Christie in the rotation. He struggled yet again today. There were some issues with him as far as, still not able to go ahead and have enough confidence to get those great amount of shots, although he shot amazingly better today, 3 of 7, 0 of 2 from behind the arc. So overall, statistically, not great numbers, especially when you're a minus 24 out there. I will say, though, that, again, nobody on this team really gave a truly great effort on the boards. And unfortunately, it showed again, my friend. They got killed on the boards, and that today alone was the difference.
Yeah, you have to play a second half in the NBA. That's why the Lakers numbers don't look as bad as they really are. And shout out to Alfred, dude, coming on here from a loss to a win. Absolute respect. Like, whether or not they played well or not, appreciate you. Gerald, where do you want to start with this? Because,
well, again, the Austin Reeves, D'Angelo Russell.
Let's start with the fact that they're not ready to play.
Yeah,
from the
that's a team. That's a team thing right there.
That is a 5-man unit problem combined with a coaching issue. Gerald, 34-20 first game, the Nuggets in the first quarter. Second game, 30-18, Phoenix outscores the Lakers. The third game with the Kings, 41-28. The fourth game with Orlando outscores the Lakers 29-24. The fifth game, the Clippers outscore them 37-24. And today, the Magic outscore them 39-25. It's like
the third quarter again.
That's a negative 71 point differential through 6 games. That's almost minus 12. This is the worst LeBron James game in the LeBron James era for the Lakers, Gerald. Now, the worst quarter happened 5 years ago, almost to the day, when the Toronto Raptors outscored the Lakers 42-17 in the first quarter. That was the worst point differential the Lakers have ever suffered. But this was the worst game in the LeBron era, Gerald. They were lackadaisical, deflated from the tip, and I'm going to be point blank here. There are some Los Angeles Lakers players that do not read scouting reports, because it was almost as if the Lakers had not played the Orlando Magic for the past 18 months, and they hadn't seen an updated scouting report. You just finished playing these gentlemen not less than a week ago, and you're committing some of the most egregious character traits that you can in an NBA game. So, Alfred, Paolo Banchero is a physical specimen, and one of his favorite sets, and I've watched a few Magic games, is he loves what Melo used to do. He'll get the ball at the elbow, and then he can either finish left-handed or right-handed. And there were a couple times where Cam Reddish and Christian Wood got on him, and it was barbecue chicken time for him, brother, because they got on his hip, and as soon, you know what, we know this, as soon as somebody's on your hip, you try and contest it as best you can. But Gerald, inexplicably, both of those guys felt that they were in a position where they could physically match Banchero, and that wasn't the case. And by the way, Paolo didn't just have his way with Christian Wood and Cam Reddish. He also had Austin Reeves on him as well, and they went headhunting again for Austin Reeves, Gerald. So it was a game where Jamal Mosley is one of the best coaches in the NBA at finding defensive mismatches, and he just ate our lunch, Gerald. I mean, we struggled, but there weren't any adjustments made. And even though the second half made it look like the Lakers had come back, the game was over at halftime. The Magic had a 27-13 rebound advantage. They had an 11-1 offensive board advantage. They had a 21-5 second chance point advantage, including 15 of those points coming off 3-pointers off offensive rebounds. It's bad enough when you're getting killed on the offensive boards, but when you're not rotating and just giving up threes, you are just asking for a mauling, Gerald, and that's what happened. It was a mauling.
It was terrible. I mean, they're getting killed on the glass. AD giving you 7 blocks, and truly, like Zangerstein said, not anticipating where the blocks are going to go. Often those blocks went right back to Orlando for putbacks, and just very disappointing overall as far as the effort. Again, I just think it was a lack of preparedness. Yeah, the Lakers got off to a slightly early lead, but you saw once that halfway through the first quarter, Alfred, you just saw just the shift in momentum changed, and the Lakers have been finding themselves fighting an uphill battle for the entire season. You can only do that so much before you finally get burnt.
Yeah, and I think another thing I thought about too during the game as I was watching it, I think there's something about being back in Orlando after being on the West Coast for a week straight with 4 games, kind of gave this team a lot of I would say confidence and happiness at the same time. Like, hey, we're back here at home. We're not cramming ourselves with all these games in LA and Portland and Utah and all this. And I think they just they just felt comfortable in the Amway Center. And that was a big part of it. I mean, you look at how they shot tonight, 45% from the field and just slightly over 35% from 3. But honestly, with how this team shot from 3 last year, you guys have talked about this with me. I'll take that at this point in the season. I'll take shooting over 35%. I thought the offense was getting the ball around to everybody very nicely. Goga had a lot of good movement plays underneath in the third quarter. I saw on Anthony Davis positioning himself where the guards and even Paolo and Franz could get him the ball down low with a good sharp pass, and he puts it up there for a layup or dunk. Everything looked crisp. I think being back at home really helped this team a lot. And I mean, at halftime when they were up 16, I got a little nervous and was like, hey, this is the Lakers. Don't take your foot off the gas here. Continue to play like it's a closer game than what it is. And they did that. And really at no point was I like, oh my gosh, so here come the Lakers. I was, the Magic had control a good bit of this game, and if not all of it. And I think it was a very good performance back at home, and they're 2-0 at home, and they got the Mavericks on Monday. So hopefully they carry that momentum into that game as well.
Once again, it is the Lakers fast break. It was unfortunately the Lakers losing in the Magic Kingdom in Orlando, 120-101 in a game that really wasn't that close at all after the first quarter. Magic Man, points in the paint, free throws, that's everything is leaning towards the Orlando Magic in this one. And again, just a lack of adjustments, just basically just not getting the team prepared.
Gerald,
there's no excuses, man. This is not the end of the road trip. It's the beginning.
Yeah, and as far as not making adjustments, what about giving Cam Reddish the responsibility of being a ball handling DHO weapon? When have you ever seen Cam Reddish run a DHO? He didn't run them in Duke. That was Zion and RJ Barrett. He didn't run them. And he didn't run them in Atlanta. That was Trae Young. And he didn't run them in New York because that was RJ Barrett too. Why are you running dribble handoffs for Cam Reddish? First of all, Gerald, Cam Reddish is not a very good mid-range shooter to begin with. So you're already giving him the ball in actions where he's not comfortable. Second, he's a poor finisher at the rim, Gerald. We've talked about this. He is one of the worst finishers at the rim. And you're giving him DHOs. I'm almost certain that Jamal Mosley and that staff were thinking to themselves, what are they doing? Because even they couldn't believe it. I'm sure of it. Gerald. I get it. You're kind of depleted, and you don't think you have the kind of weaponry to run some of the things that you think you can run, but you don't do something like that, Gerald. That was just foolish. Just to try something, just to try it.
And the 3-point issues still, Lakers were 26% from beyond the arc. Absolutely abysmal. Even though Austin Reeves goes 7 for 11 overall, still wasn't able to go ahead and be enough. That backcourt of the Lakers, I should be, really excited when Austin Reeves goes 7-11. But how do I feel he still played a bad game when he goes 7 for 11?
Because he still got picked on defensively, Gerald.
Yep. And his choices as a playmaker really were not that good as well.
No. He got picked on by whomever, and Alfred will kind of probably want to get in on this too. But I think Paolo is becoming, a really good secondary playmaker, just based off of sheer will. Alfred, it's not as if he's taking onus. He really plays it out nicely. Him and Franz Wagner, that was kind of a foreshadowing of what they could do, Gerald. I will say this though, as great as they were tonight, we made them look like gangbusters, and because they're an up and coming team. But you shouldn't be losing 20 off 2 nights. If we were on a back-to-back and this happened, I would say, you know what, Gerald? That's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes.
We had more rest than they did.
Yep, we had more rest than they did. Orlando was traveling across the country from Utah. Didn't get to sleep in their only had one night to sleep in their beds. The Lakers had 2 in Florida. No excuses whatsoever. The injuries, no excuses. Orlando was missing their share of guys as well, so that's out the window. The constant Gerald, his need to go back to that 3-guard lineup is at this point almost mind-numbingly sick. Christie, Reeves, and D'Lo should not play on the floor together, Gerald. Those 3 together, I don't care who else you have out there. You could have Wilt Chamberlain and Moses Malone, and I still wouldn't put those 3 guards together on the floor right now.
If you're going to put Christie out there with his weaknesses right now, especially the lack of, 3 when you're shooting 3 of 7, he's still terrible from beyond the arc. He was not good at all. And on defense, he gets picked on because he's slight of build. Anytime he went against Wagner or Banchero, it was a mismatch. So, yeah, you cannot put him in a 3-guard lineup or essentially have him as a small forward. He's not big enough or strong enough. He's 6'6", but he's still not strong enough or anywhere near to the capabilities to be able to handle small forwards or power forwards in the league as of yet. I mean, maybe that will change, but we'll see. But yeah, I know that Rodell's going to send me another angry letter trying to support Max Christie, but unfortunately, he just not there again tonight. But Cam Reddish again did not give you what he needed to give you coming out of the starting lineup. So Alfred, again, just your forwards, the key to your team, they produced, and unfortunately, everything behind the Lakers didn't be outside of LeBron and AD. Austin Reeves may have helped him offensively, but defensively, again, he gets picked on and targeted each and every time out. So overall, a great game plan by Mosley, and it paid off all game long.
Yeah, you guys have been preaching it for the past, 25 minutes we've been on, was the mismatches that they would see in the game. I remember, and I would see it too at certain points. Mo Wagner, when he would get into the game, I remember him backing in from the 3-point line on D'Angelo Russell. And I'm like, that's just such a horrific height disadvantage for LA when that happened.
Reeves caught himself against Wagner a lot, and that is a terrible mismatch.
Oh, God, yeah. Mo, and if you guys have seen Mo play, he used to be in LA, and if you've seen him play, he is an aggressive, physical pest, and he will make his presence felt on any night. He may not put it in the box score, but he's going to make his presence known with it. And he had a great night off the bench, and even the same thing with the other forwards, Franz and Paolo. They were exposing these matchups, and it was because I feel like Ham would put in these 3 guards and the 3 guards would play on the perimeter, and that's where Paolo and Franz start out in pretty much every offensive set Orlando does. So right off the rip of the offensive possession for Orlando, LA puts themselves in a hole, and I think that's where Paolo got his energy from the night, where literally put your head down, look up, and put it toward the rim and see if it goes in, and I think that's where he got his money's worth. And honestly, that was the name of the game. That was a big part of the game as well, was the mismatches Jamal Mosley saw and the coaching staff saw, and eventually the forwards who both started and came off the bench took advantage of.
Once again, it's the Lakers fast break. The Lakers do unfortunately lose 120-101. A Magic Man, again, just what we're seeing with this effort. This is not the way you want to start the road trip. If they get in a close loss, that's one thing. But this was never in doubt. I mean, once this got to double digits, my friend, it was never in doubt. So tell me, when you see this kind of lackadaisical effort, as you continuously preached on during the playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break live watch party, a big shout out to everybody who joined us there, especially big shout out to Nick, Eric, everybody else that was there, Alan. I mean, just truly, a great, Sangerstein, I know also as well. Devotion was there as well. So many great people there taking the time out of their day to watch this kind of listless effort. No excuses, man. Absolutely no excuses.
None. Zero. That's what pisses me off more than anything. Because this was a West Coast to East Coast trip. It's not like you were off the plane and you were playing that night. That didn't happen. They had 2.5 days off, and they blew chunks all over the Amway Center before they even stepped on the floor, Gerald.
Maybe they had a Mickey Mouse ice cream bar.
There's an old saying, Gerald. If you stay ready, you don't have to be ready. So that comes from preparation. If you're prepared to go from the jump, you don't have to worry about whether or not your effort is on point, because it's already there. But the fact is that they just dropped this to drop it. I don't understand this. I really don't. It bothers me. A loss like this bothers me because I saw it coming. I saw it coming.
Absolutely.
And I don't care who the starting 5 is at this point. You need to start off right. I don't care who it is. I don't care if you have Elmer Fudd and Daffy Duck in there with LeBron and AD.
No, you got to use Disney appropriate characters.
Well,
to match
you know what, Gerald? At least I know Elmer Fudd would box out.
That's true. That's absolutely true, because not many of the Lakers were doing that today. Also here today,
Gerald. These are the basics.
I know.
These are the basics. We're not even worried about what's going on in the weeds with Darvin Ham yet. And these are just the basics.
I will tell you, though, that is very disappointing to see the lack of effort today. Hopefully we will get something better by the time the team hits Miami on Monday. But here today also as well, good man indeed. Hopefully he will talk to you about the Lakers, then maybe later on before we end the show. As promised, some dating advice as well for Cool Bro. It is Joe Soro, a.k.a. Ox1947. The man from In-N-Out having a double-double protein style earlier today. Joe, a very disappointing loss, a very lackadaisical effort. I attribute it to not just the fact that the Lakers just gave no effort, but the coaching just did not seem like the team was prepared at all to go ahead and face the Magic, a team they faced less than a week ago.
Sean reiterated a lot of the stuff I was thinking about, so I don't think I need to repeat it. But I will say this. This game reminded me of a game in mid-January where you're tired, you're jet-lagged, a usual trip to the Southeast, which is the Atlanta, Orlando, Miami trip, where you always seem to lose 2 out of 3 no matter what. It's almost like destined. And this was back when the Lakers were winning championships or competing for championships. It just seems to be the triangle of losing or death. We got them early this year, which should have been a benefit because you're going to be fresh. It's only the 6th game of the year. You already beat them. Sean's assessment on the scouting report was really, really good because this is the last time you're going to see these guys ever this year, unless they go to the finals, obviously, which I don't think that's going to happen. Sorry, Alfred. So I would like to think that you can kind of inspire a nice sweep within a week of a team. The issue tonight, I can sit here and say Darvin Ham is not doing well, and D'Angelo Russell is hot and cold, and Austin Reeves can't play defense. But if I continue to do this, the show is going to get stale, and I'm going to assume that people are going to finally tune out. This is no longer a issue. This is who they are. I don't know if there's a fix. Darvin Ham doesn't have a system. When you don't have a system and your players don't bail you out, you're gonna get swept by the Denver Nuggets in the playoffs. That's the future of this team at its current construction. I can't see Austin Reeves getting better lateral movement physically. I can't see D'Angelo Russell going on a tear where he's scoring 20 points and averaging 7 assists a game and shooting 50% from the field. He is not that guy. And then you have Anthony Davis, who in terms of numbers, yeah, if you didn't watch the game and you saw the numbers, you're like, wow, 7 blocks, 28, 10, whatever. There was this one play in the second half. I'm not saying this is his fault. I'm sorry, in the second quarter, where Franz was in between a circle of Lakers, and this is not the first time this has happened. And Orlando shoots, and the ball goes up and drops right into Franz Wagner's hands, and he lays it up. And everyone's like this. Now, do these guys watch film? And when I say these guys, everybody's favorite assistant coach, Phil Handy, Darvin Ham, the coaching staff, right? Let's say the players are tired. They're working out. They're bushed, whatever, right? Isn't this the job of the coach to recognize this and explain it? I know that if I'm going to be a coach and we're in a public sport, what did Phil Jackson do very well? Again, I'm not expecting people to be Phil Jackson, but Phil Jackson had a very good habit of talking to players and through the media especially. So if I'm Darvin Ham, I look at the film and I go, yeah, there's this one play where everyone is sitting there watching the ball. We already have a problem watching the players play and just standing around with their thumb up their ass. Watching a rebound go up like this and come down is 10 times worse. And this is not an Orlando Magic issue. This is a Laker issue because there's no reason Franz should have gotten that rebound with AD right there and everyone else around him. How does that happen? How do you let him creep into that circle? And this is not the first time. Orlando just happened to have their number one pick play like a number one pick today, and you got smoked by the good, very good players on Orlando as well. And it's an early season loss that usually takes place in terms of focus, in terms of execution, when you're tired. These guys should not be tired right now. And if Darvin Ham can't figure out that certain players that he's putting in there with other players isn't going to work by now through a training camp, through LeBron's training camp, through a year being with this team, because most of the guys that are playing are familiar guys. D'Lo, Austin, AD, LeBron. If you're not going to be able to really know your main guys' issues and wants and needs and whatever, then I would like to know, Darvin, what do you do all day? because I don't want to sit here and say you're not intelligent. I think that's kind of rude in general. I mean, I say that publicly, but in private, I don't care. But I'm trying to be respectful here. He has a family, he has children. I don't want to insult the family and, someone's father or whatever. I mean, I still do sometimes, but you know what I mean. It just doesn't make any sense from a coaching standpoint. What are you doing to prepare this team with the fundamentals? This should not have been a loss of ineptitude. This should have been a loss of you're not hitting your shots tonight. And Orlando came in and hit 20 of 33 pointers. You just wasted another AD performance, and LeBron played 35 minutes again tonight in a massive loss. Like, you might as well have just sat down.
That's what I wanted to. I mean, he's still playing, and the Lakers are down by 21. What is the hell is he still doing in there?
And that's someone who doesn't know. He isn't in the moment. And when I say he, I'm talking about the leadership of the team, which is the coach. If you can't recognize that something is not working and you keep doing it, we always blame the coach in any sport. I have issues with all three of the coaches in my favorite team sports. I Mike Tomlin, Dave Roberts, but the results are there. I watch these games. I know what's going on. I'm not just blaming anybody for no reason. There's a difference sometimes when it's the player's fault versus when it's the coach's fault. And sometimes the coach does, set up a particular game plan. And you're like, man, if this guy can't get this ball to that receiver, or, why are you putting in this person why are you taking this guy out because it's a lefty-righty situation when the guy that you had already there is 3 for 4 that day? Like, there's a lot of those things that factor into when it's the coach's fault. Darvin Ham has an issue with lineup decisions, and he's always had it. He's always had it since he's been a Laker coach. He got away with a few things in the playoffs because a lot of times in the playoffs, you have to run with a shorter, tighter, and guys are more focused, especially your stars, and he has 2 stars. So a lot of times that can mask your issues until you run into an elite team, which they did, and they got smoked. So the issue right now isn't what's going on. We're 3-3. It's, can this team figure it out? Can Darvin Ham improve something with this offensive rebounding problem if the players can't? And is it going to have to be something that Ron Pelinka is going to have to figure out? Can they figure that out? And if not, you're not going to go to a championship. You're not going to go to a championship and win a championship if you cannot rebound with arguably, in my opinion, the best defensive player in the league and a player who should have won the rebounding title last year if he had played enough games. You already have the pillar. Why can't everything else come together as well? Why can't you use that as an advantage? And I don't know. I'm puzzled by it.
Once again, it is the Lakers fast break. The Lakers do lose, and lose handily, 120-101 in the Magic Kingdom. Alfred, I want to bring it back to you. I truly appreciate the time that you're taking with us today. I mean, 4-2, good win over the Lakers. There's no question about it. Team that went to the Western Conference Finals. What do you think the Magic can do with this kind of momentum? Early starts sometimes really propel teams forward and gives them maybe, sometimes a better season than what was earlier anticipated. Your thoughts? We talked about the fact that this could be possibly a play-in style team, a team that could be capable of some decent things here this season. What do you think this 4-2 start will do for the confidence for your young Orlando Magic?
Well, I think it's huge. I mean, you go out there and you shoot very well against a Laker team with the likes of LeBron and Anthony Davis. And, really, I alluded to it before, but this game really never was in doubt whatsoever. And I think that really helps them going forward. Their next 5 games are the Mavericks at home, the Hawks in Mexico, the Bucks at home, on the road in Brooklyn for the in-season tournament, and then on the road in Chicago, and then playing in Chicago again 2 nights later for that in-season tournament game. So that's kind of a weird travel-inducing and good team schedule. I mean, you got the Bucks, Mavericks. I won't sleep on Brooklyn at this point, especially going to play Brooklyn with how the Magic have been on the road. I think it helps them a lot going forward in this late stretch of November coming up. The mid stretch of November coming up, but I think it's a glimpse of what possibly can be if they decide to put it together like they do. Again, I think it's with everything clicking as far as the rebounding, the scoring, the way they move the ball on offense, and the way they adjust when players like Markelle and Wendell, key players at that, are not playing. I think it was very huge. And again, the guys who replaced them, Goga and Anthony Black, did not do anything crazy on the stat sheet. But if you watch them play, they did well enough with handing the ball off and getting it to their playmakers to where you were like, okay, this can't be a permanent thing, but it's something that where they can sit in there. And if they get the ball to their playmakers and the playmakers are making plays, everything comes together. So I think it's good because it gives a glimpse of what can be later on in the year. And also it helps in the brief, immediate moment of what's coming up on the schedule, because some of the teams I feel like are beatable. Some I feel like are title contenders who we won't beat, but it helps in a multitude of ways of the near future and future even down the road.
Magic Man, we know that going in tonight that there was going to be some shortages as far as players are concerned. You didn't have, of course, we talked about earlier in the pregame, Taurean Prince. He was out. Also, you had Rui Hashimura. He was out. Jared Vanderbilt still out with a bursitis. And also as well, you had other individuals, Gabe Vincent also out and JHS also out. We saw the Lakers have to now rely upon individuals such as Cam Reddish and Max Christie, among others, who are giving you inconsistent performances as best, as you can see, both on the offensive and defensive end. And you're probably you're only going to go so far because of it. So tell me, with Rui and also as well Taurean possibly coming back for the Monday game, do you think that will provide the boost that we need to go ahead and get back on track, my friend?
I think at best it will mask the problems we already have, Gerald. At best. Okay. At best. I think at worst it could open up the floodgates even more, depending on whether or not some of these issues get resolved. Gerald, I posted a couple miscellaneous stats in the chat. Who do you think is the worst team at surrendering second chance points in the NBA right now?
Let me take a wild guess. Could it be Coinky Dink, the Lakers?
That's correct. 19.5 a game. Almost giving up 20 second chance points a game through 6 games. You're not going to win anything doing that. And by the way, Gerald, only the Rockets and Wizards create less opportunities with their second chance points than we do. That's like a team in the NFL who's got like a minus 20 turnover differential and finds himself losing all these close games in the fourth quarter. Well, why do you think you've been losing all those close games? Because you can't manufacture opportunities for yourself and you can't stop the bleeding when it happens. 19.5 second half chance points per game, Gerald. The middle of the pack right now, the Denver Nuggets give up about 12. Those 7-8 points are the difference between a win and a loss in the NBA. And Ham has just not fixed this problem, Gerald, even when the trade was made. This problem was being able to be masked by better perimeter defense at the time, but it was still a huge problem. And now it's a crisis. It's a crisis. The rebounding problem is a crisis.
Adam in our chat is insistently repeating on Colin Castleton as the savior and guy who's going to be able to provide the rebounds. He says if anybody can rebound, play Castleton, because Colin Castleton is a good rebounder. He is still very slight of build for his height and can still get easily muscled in and out of the paint. So while he does have some skills, I don't think he's the answer that solves the riddle for the Lakers. I think a lot of it is more about coaching, repetition, and getting these guys to play better as far as being more forceful on the boards. Because Christian Wood, Jordan Hayes, and Anthony Davis, those three guys together, Joe, and let me bring it back to you. Those guys should not be getting destroyed on the boards as much as they do.
No, they shouldn't, but it's what they are. And there's nothing Darvin Ham can do to enhance that, from my opinion, at this point. Their games don't allow them to take care of those skill sets. Where Darvin Ham does have control is recognizing and preparing for each team as best he can and putting the right lineup in when he sees fit. I don't know if he can do that yet. I don't know if he can ever do it. I don't know if he does it well. He'll do it once in a while. It's just not consistent. It's not you have nothing to fall back on the moment LeBron doesn't play or the moment AD doesn't play. LeBron was a plus 12 today, wasn't he?
LeBron and Reeves were the only plus individuals today, and he was a plus 12.
Okay, so it's hard. We're using stats to explain value. LeBron, when he's not playing, there's been some good things, but mainly it's bad. He has to be in there a lot for them to have a chance. They haven't had a dominant win, really. They don't dominate. They don't have any kind of, again, identity that, hey, look, if LeBron and AD are playing a two-man game here and they end up scoring the last 8 points, you're done. Like, take the team's heart early. So they come out the gate slow in every single game. They've almost taken the third quarter issues from last year and put it in the first. What is the problem there? Why are they coming out the gate slow? What is the motivation to play badly in that situation? Is it familiarity? I mean, I don't know. I'm watching the game and I'm trying to figure out why. And I'm going to go back to the same thing because it's the only thing that makes sense. And it's, do they care? Do they really care? I don't think they care when they're watching the ball bounce from the rim and come down without putting their hands up. Do they prepare like Dennis Rodman used to? The certain sound from when the ball hits the backboard or the rim, and you automatically kind of condition yourself to go to that spot? Are you not attuned yet when AD blocks the shot and you know where it's going? It's obvious. Physics says when he does this, the ball's going to go over there, right? Or it's going to go over there. So position yourself to go there. Instead, people are going like this. So everybody's standing around and watching. These are grown professionals, right? You would think that they wouldn't do that, but maybe they're not. Let's say they're big children. It's still wouldn't you say that it's the coach's job to wake them up? Hey, absolutely. What are you standing around watching? Or maybe Mr. Hands in his pockets isn't watching either. Bad optics all around. And you have to take advantage of these games against teams that are not title contenders. You need to win these games, even on the road, so that you can give yourself cushion. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say maybe he's employing the Jason Kidd coaching strategy. I'm just watching the games just like you.
I don't know what that means, and I frankly don't like it.
Well, that's a direct quote from Jason Kidd last year,
okay.
I believe. Yeah.
Well, no comment at that point with that. To the Laker fans out there, Darvin Ham is not likely going anywhere. If he's going to go anywhere, it'll be at the end of the year. And what's likely going to happen if the Lakers don't win in the championship this year is what happened last year, is they're just not going to be able to combat the elite teams because they don't do the basics very well. The basics are rebounding and spacing and execution towards the rim and hitting open shots. They could win if LeBron goes into supersonic mode or AD goes into supersonic mode. But you're asking LeBron a year later to do it, a year later to do it, a year later to do it. Every year he gets older, no matter how phenomenal he is, no matter how great you see that one game that week that he just became Superman. Guys, he cannot do this every game. We need your help. You need to rebound. Austin Reeves and D'Angelo Russell are 6'5". They're not 6'1". Heck, I saw Chris Paul last night give more effort and better positioning to get a rebound than these guys do. Is Steve Kerr teaching Chris Paul how to rebound? Or is Chris Paul just doing that? It's not just one thing. It's too many things to the point where they're all running into each other. Jet lag, no energy, no rebounding. But see, wait a minute. This was going on when they had 2 days off and they were at home. So what's the excuse now? Well, they traveled. So after a while, you're just listening to excuses the whole time.
You can't say that, Joe, because Orlando played in Utah the day after.
Other than LeBron, and let's say to some degree AD's mileage, he's been playing for 11 years plus. Everyone in this team is young. You can't tell me, they're old. These are young players. Where's your energy? You guys got your money in the summer. Where's the energy? Are you relaxed? Do you not want to give that extra effort? I don't know. At this point. We still have to wait. It's too early. It really is. We're going to know this thing probably about when it matters. We're right around mid-December. We're going to know really what this team is. And as soon as you start hearing about the team meeting stuff, then you'll know everything hit the crapper. Because that's usually the first sign of things going bad. Oh, they had a players-only meeting. Oh, players-only meeting. Well, your problem could be the non-player that puts his hand in his pockets too. He should be in that meeting too to figure out how the hell you all going to figure this out. Because if this was just, let's say, a middle-tier team, I don't think we're this concerned. The issue is, guys, this team has to win the championship. Otherwise, this is all for nothing. This team was not constructed to compete. It was constructed to win a championship. That's it. Not go to the finals, not go to the playoffs. Win it all. If they don't win it all, it's a failure. Even if they go 7, it's a failure. And LeBron, legacy is cemented. You can say whatever you want about him, but he still has something else to finish. The more he finishes with titles, the better argument there is for him to be the top dog of all time. So he has something to play for. And then AD in my eyes is probably another championship away from, being the multi-champion instead of just one single champion. And that sometimes carries a little bit more weight, but he might be satisfied too. I don't know. Again, he's been playing great individually in terms of statistics, but I think there needs to be someone that finally loses their temper. And I think it would be nice if AD did it. And he just you guys all play like a bunch of beeps, bleeps, bleeps. Get your head out of your butt. I'm trying to guard everybody and block every shot. Go stand somewhere and get it. I'll make sure it doesn't go out of bounds. I'll be Bill Russell. Just get the damn ball.
Because only one of those blocks, I think, went out of bounds. Correct, Joe? I think only one of them.
Correct. I saw all 7 blocks.
Yeah. So that means most of them went.
I was watching the game massively illegally, by the way, while I was driving.
I'm not going to comment because I may have been doing the same thing for a part of the game as well. But the thing is though, okay, one of them went out straight out of bounds. But that means 6 of them were up for grabs after AD blocks them. And the problem is most of those went right back to the Orlando Magic for putbacks, just like the rebounds. They got killed on the board. And Alfred, let me bring it back to you because, it just means that that's the kind of effort, the kind of thing that they want. Now, this is a team early on that, you build that momentum, as I talked with you about before. This is something that while the Lakers just seemingly, with the veteran presence that they have, thinking they can turn on the switch at any point in time, you realize over the course of the season, you're going to run up against some teams like Orlando, which are young and hungry and want to go ahead and play a lot better and a lot faster and a lot more with more emotion and more intensity than, and if you don't bring that, if you don't match that, that's what's going to happen in like games tonight.
Yeah, especially Joe, I think you mentioned this too, especially when you travel in the way LA does to places all the way across the coast like Orlando and Miami. And when you go all the way, let's go up to the northern side, when you play teams like Detroit, who have guys like Jalen Duren, who are going to, give you fits down low. I mean, I like what I see is if the Orlando Magic were able to gain offensive rebounds without the likes of Wendell Carter like they did tonight, a guy like Jalen Duren might go out there and get 15 rebounds in a game on a night similar to this. I think it's you got to be able, when you play on the road in the NBA, you got to be able to play really good defense and rebound at least to the same level as the other team is rebounding in order to keep yourself in it. Because if you don't, you're going to find yourselves on your heels like the Lakers did tonight a lot, quite frankly. And that was one thing I was, comparing it back to the Magic's recent road trip to the West Coast. It was the same thing. It was, the Magic would put themselves in positions to win like they did against LA on Monday. And when they won like they did against Utah's not as good of an example, but Portland, the first game of that road trip, where they played good enough defense to kind of keep themselves in the game enough to where they did not need to depend on their shots falling on the road all the way on the Pacific coast. They depended more upon their defense playing well and their rebounding playing well. So I think that's the biggest thing. The biggest thing I think the Lakers can do and can take away is, make sure you fundamentally play good enough defense and close out on shooters from beyond the arc and, rebound, and not even just rebound, just give an effort towards rebounding the basketball. Because there were times where, Joe, you mentioned it, Franz literally reached up over 3 Lakers players and grabbed the ball. There were times when Goga, even down low, had Anthony Davis with a ball clear in his sights and would reach into Davis's arms and grab it and put it up, and maybe not put it up and in, but get the ball and get another possession out of it. So I think the key things LA needs to remember is, you can depend on your players like LeBron and AD having the kind of offense they did tonight, but you need to remember too that the defense on the road in the NBA is vital, because these teams in this league are confident when they're in their own arena shooting the basketball. Why? Because they practice that way every day, and they normally practice shooting in that same building. So they're going to have the same kind of confidence shooting the ball as they would, you know what I mean? They're going to have that kind of confidence at home. So you need to make sure you just play good defense and rebound well, which is, the rebounding was definitely something of concern for LA. But that's, on this road trip that the Lakers are about to go on, that's something they can definitely kind of build upon, is that.
Once again, it's the Lakers unfortunately losing and getting thumped 120-101 by the Orlando Magic. Magic, let me bring you back in here, my friend. You were the best part. You and Nick were awesome parts of the playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break coverage. You were there witnessing it all. Just truly terrible effort by the coaching staff. Again, I said that there's a possibility, as the coach has alluded to, that Rui may be allowed out of concussion protocol by Monday, and also as well, Taurean Prince might be relieved of his left knee tendonitis by then to get them back on Monday. What lineup would you go at with against the Miami Heat on Monday to maybe start getting this team to have a little bit better start on Monday? Because people, it's all Prince's fault that the Lakers have gotten off these bad starts. Well, I guess you can't really throw that one anymore, can you?
Guess not. Well,
is it LeBron and AD's? I mean, LeBron and AD and D'Lo and Austin, they're the only, they're the ones that have been out there starting each and every game.
I doubt you're going to start Rui coming off out of a concussion protocol, Gerald.
Mm-hmm.
I seriously think he's probably going to go back to the starting lineup he had tonight, which is Cam Reddish starting there. I would insert Taurean Prince in the starting lineup, Gerald. And I would hope like hell that Vanderbilt comes back sooner rather than later, although we've heard that later rather than sooner is operative phrase with him. Vanderbilt needs to be in the starting lineup just to give this team a little bit of punch drunk energy, something, Joe, because they're just laying an egg collectively as a unit. It doesn't. The 5-man unit is insignificant, Gerald, in the sense that it's not one positional problem over another. It's the 5 of them together. 4 of them have been there the whole time. AD, LeBron, Austin Reeves, and D'Lo. It's just that 5th guy coming in. They haven't found chemistry with anything yet in the first quarter. Minus 71. You're basically handing a team a 12-point lead in the NBA. Let me tell you something. You hand it any team, I don't care if they're the Charlotte Hornets, I don't care if they're the Washington Wizards, you hand them a 12-point lead, Gerald, off the jump, you're not going to win a lot of games. And all those comeback wins, you think it's because you've got the tenacity and the metal and the balls of steel. But really, a lot of it is you just got caught wagging the dog, Gerald. Just dogging it. And it finally caught up with you. I'm tired of it. Like and the idea that, well, it's early in the season, don't hit the panic button. This was a problem starting last year, guys. I've been here the whole time. Been watching this. They have a serious problem with boxing out. Don't understand it. Don't have an explanation for why this is such an issue. 5 fast break points tonight, Gerald. After last year being top 7 in fast break points, you're slipping. Darvin Ham has taken every advantage that this team had last year and has pissed it away. Pissed it away. And now we're relying on Cam Reddish running DHOs to try and galvanize a run. Gerald, I'm going to be sick. You can't have a situation where you're reliant on somebody who shoots 20% from the arc and you're putting the ball handling responsibilities to this individual. Darvin Ham is a terrible in-game coach. That will not change. I don't care how, if they have a plus 84 over the next 4 games in the first quarter, Gerald. It won't make me go die off the hill that Ham is terrible in game. He's got tunnel vision, and he is. And it's not a matter. I'm done.
I don't blame you, my friend. I know you're upset, and I could tell it's not good. It's just not good to see this kind of lackadaisical effort on the front end of the trip and not the back end, because usually that's the kind of effort NBA teams get. You get, like you mentioned, Joe, like on the back end, like you talked about in the Southeastern trip, middle of January, that type of deal. Or you see it at the end of like a 7-game road trip. The Lakers just come in on fumes, or at NBA team, put it whatever NBA team on fumes, and then they just give you that kind of effort. You see that from all over the NBA. They've had enough. They've been on the road 6, 7 days, 10 days. They've just had enough. This is the start of the road trip. Orlando played the game in Utah the day after the Lakers did. Again, as I said throughout the show, there are absolutely no excuses why you got the kind of effort that you did from the Lakers today.
Yeah, and we're getting some people here trying to stomp on the grave a little more.
I mean, it's 6 games in.
So I'm gonna have a little fun with this. This is kind of this is my game. This is the game.
This is your game.
This is my game. So for those of you who are flickering your scrotums at the loss of the Lakers,
we were 2-10 last year.
I want you guys to put things in perspective, okay? Whoever your basketball team is will never compare to the Lakers. Even if you're a Celtic fan. The Celtics have won 1 championship since 1986. The Lakers have won 6 in this century. So we win falling down. We were falling down ourselves, tripping all over the place, and we still made it to the Western Conference Finals. So if you want to come in here and play the game of you suck and they're not going to do anything, what happens when they do something or they beat your team? You guys going to go away like little scared flies, right? I'm trying to keep it PG. I don't want to go the other route. I can't anyways. We're trying to be a family show here. But your talk means nothing. Your talk means nothing. You're just blabbering now. You suck. Lakers suck. If you're going to come with something like that, can you make it entertaining a little bit instead of soiled toilet paper? Because that's what it is. I mean, get over it. I mean, we're talking to a nice gentleman that's a Orlando Magic follower. We're having good conversation here. We're a little upset and we're angry, but we're having a professional discussion here with a little emotion, with stuff. Yeah, that's human. We're human. But coming on here and turning it into Twitter, if you want to do that, go to Twitter. Go talk to those yahoos over there. No pun intended, by the way. Not a big fan of Yahoo either. We're here to talk about intelligent basketball and try to figure out what's going on. So that's my little rant for the day. If you guys want to keep it coming, just understand I'm going to tear you up. I'm going to embarrass you. I'm going to embarrass your whole family, your friends, your neighbors, because I can get. That's my game. That's what I invent. I invented this game. So I'm giving you a warning. You want to dance? Let's dance. Let's go.
I remember in just a few moments, I'm going to ask him for dating advice for Cool Bro coming up. But Alfred, let me go. I haven't forgotten that. Believe me, the whole chat would let us know, Joe, because you left In and Out. Okay, after you left the chat, after you ate In and Out, that was the subject of the last half of Lakerholics.
I told you guys I don't do TED Talks or.
He asked.
I'm not a life coach. I will
just a quick. Even Laker Tom gave love advice on the last year, so you got to help someone. You got to help Cool Bro.
I will help him out, and it's going to be very
last
easy.
Thing before we end the show.
I understand.
Let's close out with Alfred though here, and because I know Sean's pretty pissed off right now, so maybe some love advice from Joe at the end will cheer you up, Magic. But before we do, Alfred, it's been great having you here. OrlandoMagicDaily.com. You can find us part of the fan-sided experience. Again, I hope you stop by more than just Orlando Magic games because we're done with Orlando. It's a split, so we can call it even in regards to that. But, if you played it to the T, we would not be able to see you until next summer. And I certainly hope it's not going to be that because you've been a tremendous guest. Tell us what you're doing, what you're working on, and hopefully, again, the red carpet is always open for you, my friend, to join us at any time.
Well, yeah, thank you, Gerald. I appreciate it. And guys, I'm going to try to be back for something at some point during the NBA season. It's not often, you guys know this, that this kind of happens. We don't normally have our games done 6 games into the year. That's unheard of. I've never seen that out of any team from the Western Conference.
You think the in-season tournament thing has got something to do with it?
It might actually. That's a pretty good point because I know I'm heading down to Orlando and I'm going to the Boston Celtics in-season tournament game in the Amway Center. And I know those games are happening. Some have already happened. I know the Magics are happening, all of them within the next 2 weeks, essentially. So
why not have every team last night play in the first game of this end season? That, to me, not having the Lakers and Celtics on the first day of this historic thing was kind of dumb.
Yeah, that certainly seems like a good idea. And again, I think it's the first time they're doing it, so it's a little weird because I've seen stuff on Twitter where it's, it isn't incentivized enough, and the player bonuses they get are incentivizing enough to them. But from a team standpoint, it's not really, Yeah,
but I wouldn't guarantee a playoff spot. I know they were floating that around ESPN. I would dare not do that because what if a team like let's say Houston wins the thing and then they stink the rest of the season? Do you give them a pass and give them a playoff position just for that? Just because they were pretty good for 4 games in November and December?
Yeah, I agree. Even let's go on the other end of the spectrum. Let's say the Nuggets win it. It's like, what's Denver going to do the rest of the year? Well, rest Jokic and Jamal Murray and the rest of them a lot because they have that spot locked up. And when that time comes, they can make a tournament run, a playoff run for the NBA Finals at that point. So I agree. It should not be a playoff spot. That'll create a whole lot of problems that a lot of people will hate. I do think, though, it has to be something. I don't know if it has to do with the NBA lottery. I don't know if it's, money for the team along with players, that kind of thing. I don't know what it may be, but I think it's certainly that, going back to what we were talking about, that certainly I think may have had an effect on the whole Lakers and Magic kind of scheduling this year, because it was very odd that we're not even 2 weeks into November and we've already played each other twice. But I don't know. I think just stuff I'm doing beyond this. Speaking of the in-season tournament, I'm gonna have a preview for the East Group C teams. That's what the Magic are in. So Bulls, Raptors, Nets, and Celtics are the other four. That's I'm gonna have previews for all of them coming out pretty soon on Orlando Magic Daily. Continuing the player grades for the Tampa Bay Rays players from this past season. Gonna hit on some off-season notes. They're looking at what they're gonna do with Tyler Glasnow and Randy Arozarena, two really big names. They'll see what they do with them. And as far as Buffalo Down goes, the Bills are still mid-season. They have a Sunday night matchup with the Cincinnati Bengals. I'll be doing something on that. Whatever happens, the Bills kind of need to start putting it together at some point, or they're going to lose control of the horse they're riding. But that's what I have going on, really. And once again, I will love to be back on here for anything Lakers, anything NBA that pops up, anything at all. So if there's at some point in the near future or even during the season, I will be back on here with you guys. If you're happy to have me, I'll be right back. Don't you worry.
Just gotta tell me, you know where you can find me. You get it. You give me a message on LinkedIn like you always do. I'm always here. My friend. We do shows 7 days a week, so we're always glad to have you on, my friend.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much once again.
Oh, always glad to have you here. It is Alfred Ezman from Orlando Magic Daily. But before we head on out, Sean, and before we get to any dating advice from Joe Soro, so I'm going to hit him up with that before we head on out to try and cheer everyone up, because we need it, Joe. Magic Man, any last thoughts before we head on out, my friend?
No.
Spoken like a true Joe Soro, indeed. Thank you again for the great coverage on playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. Magic Man was tremendous. Him and Laker Nick. Please go ahead and join our full coverage every single game on playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. It's a great time normally. In fact, they were trying to make things a lot better for us. And Magic Man, bless his heart, did an admirable job trying to go ahead and do that today. So go ahead and, make sure you check us out. Playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. Go ahead, Magic.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, Alfred, if you wanna laugh riot, check out some of our shows from early last year when we were actually 2 and 10.
Yes.
Yeah, it was. We were basically keeping each other entertained for our own sanity.
Yeah, I could not imagine starting 2 and 10. Some of the stuff being said about where that season was going. I'm actually probably right after this. I'm probably gonna go check that out, pop a beer or two, and have a good laugh. To say the least.
No, that's certainly something we do now these days about that. We laugh indeed.
Yeah, there were the three most common words from the start last year: fire, Darvin Ham.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that it was in our chat. That's all I saw was fire Darvin Ham. And if it continues, we'll see it again real soon.
It'll be making a resurrection fairly soon, Gerald, with the way things are going.
Absolutely. And for those who in the chat, the best Lakers chat room that's out there, it's the Lakers Fast Break. For those who, like Joe said, for those who are like trashing us, remember we were 2 and 10 last year. And also the fact, if you go ahead and say we can't compete against the elite in the West, are you including the Suns at 2 and 4 in that mix? Are you including the Grizzlies at 0 and 6 in that mix? Because they were the elites in the West last year. Are you including the Kings? The Kings are awful to start the season. Are you including them as well? So go ahead and think about that before you make these statements. put some thought into it before you do. That's all I'll say.
The Lakers have three-peated more than the Denver Nuggets have won titles.
Yeah.
Just
fair enough.
Let that sink in a little. They three-peated more times.
Just these fans that are, it's so funny because when the Nuggets won,
enjoy your title.
People were wearing Nugget shirts.
Enjoy it.
Hey. Let's get something straight, okay? The Nuggets aren't even a main draw in Denver. Let's be honest about something. Nobody gives a crap about the Nuggets in Denver. They care about the Broncos. They don't give a rat's ass about the Nuggets. And that's the bottom line. Joseph and B-Will and whoever else is in there. Denver doesn't give a rip about whether or not the Nuggets are good or not. The Broncos are on their minds 100%, 365 days of the year, 7 days of the week. The Nuggets are an afterthought. Gerald, I apologize for interrupting, but that needs to be on the record.
But I do want to say for Alfred's case, you know what? That day comes when the Orlando Magic ride a championship wave to their first championship, and he's around wherever in the United States, finally seeing Orlando Magic jerseys. It's not going to be the first time you see Orlando Magic jerseys in places other than Orlando, because there are McGrady jerseys and there are Shaq O'Neal jerseys from Orlando that have been around for many years. The Nuggets, if you're lucky, you could find maybe an Alex English once every decade, somebody else wearing that outside of Denver. So yeah, now that they've won, people have gone on the bandwagon. That's just what they do. They hop on whatever team is winning. That's always the case. And you know what? More power to you. Enjoy it while it lasts. Wake us up when you get 16 more. And we'll leave it at that. But that won't happen anytime soon. Joe, though, before we head out, on a lighter note, it was in our earlier chat, Cool Bro. We promised, because Cool Bro was waiting, although he kind of got scared when somebody said, "Yet you will take his soul." I think that comment kind of scared him, but you will not take his soul. I guaranteed, I reassured him that you wouldn't. But he says he's got a girl in class that he wants to pass a note to and ask the girl out on the date. They're 14-year-old kids here we're dealing with, okay? Sean probably gave the best and sound advice because, when Laker Tom at 78, he's not going to give you the most current up-to-date advice. He gave you advice circa 1950. But when it comes to the best advice I heard, I think on the show, I'd say Sean gave it on there. So your thoughts, my friend. I've told the audience that you would give your love advice on this special episode. Alfred, you could chime in on this too, my friend. So your thoughts on what he should do to go ahead and properly go ahead and, get this thing going in the right direction.
So, Cool Bro is 14, you said?
Yes, we're dealing with 14-year-olds.
Wow. I don't know what 14-year-olds do these days. Oh, I know. I'm taking a wild guess here. Talk to your parents. See if you can get some Taylor Swift tickets and ask her to go with you.
That'll do it. That'll do it for sure.
Even Gerald got excited.
I didn't do anything. Magic Man when he
Gerald. Yeah, whatever, Gerald.
Whatever,
Gerald.
I didn't even touch anything.
I'm an innocent bystander. Yes. I was just buying oranges. That's all. I was just buying oranges. I'm an innocent bystander.
I'll repeat it just in case. Yes. Hey, Cool Bro, listen. God. Taylor Swift is not hip hop. It's not country. She's tolerable if you're not into it.
He says he's not going for $1 million to concert. I'm telling you, Cool Bro,
you'll have it.
Really want a yes?
You'll have it. And trust me, I went to a country concert once.
Blue Magic said, hell yeah, I'd take the T-Swift tickets. Do you know how much those things cost on eBay? That's damn good resale money there.
Look, the cool bro. It's not about Taylor Swift. It's not about Taylor Swift. It's the skills that you'd show, and no one does that at 14.
Those resell for thousands of dollars. Hell yeah, I'll take.
Yeah, this is not about money. Okay, you want to look like a stud, and what happens is 14-year-olds can't afford Taylor Swift tickets, or even come up with the idea of taking a possible date to a Taylor Swift concert.
Because then I buy you 2 tickets for.
Or if you find out she's into, I don't know, grunge rock or something, it doesn't have to be. I'm totally being stereotypical here right now. If you get an idea that she's into something else, get those tickets and take her to the concert. No one does that at 14, man. Very few people will think of that. I guarantee you do something like that, at the very least, her parents are going to go, wow. Yeah, this guy's got some skills. At least I would think so.
Yeah, I'll even build off that. I'm sure you guys may have heard of and seen this. It's as simple too as taking her to the Taylor Swift movie that just came out. Which
I'm sorry, Alfred. Okay, if she likes books, she loves books just like me. Oh boy, going to the library.
The Taylor Swift movie is a much more feasible alternative.
It's cheaper, I would imagine. Like a hell of a lot cheaper.
And you're able to find tickets now.
What's wrong with going to a bookstore, buying her a coffee, and then having a conversation for a couple hours?
Coffee? He's 14. What do you mean coffee?
Or hot chocolate. You're not helping. You don't even know what 14-year-olds do.
Why don't they get a cigarette and talk about life at 14 too?
The kids watching American Psycho and these horror films, Joe.
They'll probably vape.
Man,
they'll probably vape.
American Psycho is a comedy. I don't know what the hell anybody's talking about. That wasn't scary.
But the point,
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Sean.
Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, Sean. We're all waiting now. You have us in anticipation. Go ahead. All right.
Are you gonna blink? You blinked. Okay, so you're letting me talk.
All right,
tell
us, man. Come on, finish up. We got that.
Barnes and Nobles, are they still open?
Yes, there are still locations. Yes.
Okay, looks like you already have your answer.
He should stick with his own plan. He had a good plan there. He was gonna ask her to join their study group and try to build the relationship one step at a time.
That was my idea.
That was not your idea. That was actually cool, bro. That was cool, bros. Gerald, why do you always have this unnecessary need to take the credit for everything?
Because I take the credit. I said it earlier on the Lakerholic Spotlight.
God, you gotta take the credit for everything.
I'll take the credit that
time.
Cool,
bro. Absolutely. Stick with your idea about asking her to join your study group. That's a great idea. And it doesn't matter if it came from Gerald or from Cool Bro. That's the best one so far.
There you go. That's Alfred, any last thoughts to point in on this?
Either one of those 3 options. Study group, Barnes & Noble, and hot chocolate, because that's coming out because of the holiday season. Or even I would say Taylor Swift movie. Do the movie. It's cheaper.
Wasn't the movie, though, wasn't that on the list that was made that
14, a couple weeks there's ago? No coffee here.
He's also, it's also, the movie's just like
don't drink coffee
in movie form. So I'm like, it's literally going to the concert just in a movie theater. So
I know, but my girls went to it. They went to the.
These 13-year-olds are drinking Monsters, and you're telling them, don't drink coffee. Like, what are you?
Yeah, and all the girls right now. All the girls that do that, when I pass the high school, are all obese. So don't do it. Sorry, it's true.
I'm just saying. What I'm saying is the T Swift movie that you're talking about, Alfred. Yeah, again, my daughters went to it. They had a good time. But what I saw on the list, what is that? They put out this list of places that women or ladies don't like to go to on the first date, and one of them was listed as the movies. I don't know why.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem with taking a date to a movie. You can't talk to your date while you're watching a movie. So you need a plan before and after.
Okay.
That's what you need, because for 2 hours, she's not going to want to listen to what you have to say because you're at a movie.
Cool, bro.
Well, it worked for me. That's all I'll say. So.
Oh, it worked for you, did it, Gerald?
Yes.
Well,
Misery.
la-dee-da.
Misery.
La-dee-da.
Misery, that worked. So that was a good movie because there was obviously when
how romantic. You take a date to see Misery.
Well, that's what she wanted to go see. Kathy Bates broke James Caan's ankles.
Maybe she was thinking you were James Caan.
And she grabbed me after she saw, this is my first wife. She grabbed me when she saw that scene where Kathy Bates is breaking James Caan's ankles, and goes like tight. I'm like, yeah, I got this.
Cool, bro. Where do you live?
Cool, bro should take her to the seafood buffet.
Where do you live?
I am not down for that blue magic. No, thank you. I will not take any. I will not take a minor gambling. I have one minor now because my other one turned 18.
Which part of California?
Oh, well, actually, I have two that can't gamble because you got to be 21 to gamble. So no, sorry, cool. Sorry. He lives in California, so maybe Joe Soro needs to.
Let me find out where he is first. You just want to say they live in California? If you're in Southern California, take all the good books and go to the beach and read and hang out.
Go to Redondo, Huntington.
You don't have to spend any money.
Yeah.
The weather right now is perfect. You go to the beach, hang out, and just read. If you go, you're
Santa Monica.
Yeah. Just make sure mom and dad or whomever drops you off and make sure that that you're safe and everything. Which
does Huntington Beach have the
You don't have to go to the beach like by the water. Just go to the beach if you don't want to go.
Beach has a pier. Huntington Beach has a pier. Samo, obviously the one that's the most famous there. So yeah, always good place to go. Lots of people. It's very busy, very active. So yeah, a lot of great choices there as well. So yeah.
Museum.
Jaws was mechanical. You can find him at Universal Studios. Cool, bro. It's okay. Yes. All right, indeed.
Sean's nickname is Jaws. That's why he can stay awake all night long.
I don't know.
Hey, they were asking, does he sleep? He's just Jaws. Sharks don't sleep, right?
I thought they called him Hot Yoga Man.
What?
I thought they called him Hot Yoga Man.
I've never heard that in my entire life.
Remember when the chat was like into hot yoga? It was
the guy. They just said he doesn't sleep. I said his nickname is Jaws. Sharks don't sleep. See the correlation?
But does he bite?
I feel like Chevy Chase in European Vacation.
You want to find out, Gerald?
Not really. Thank you very much.
Well, then stop. Don't ask questions you don't know the answers
cool, bro?
to.
Yes. The Coronado. Yes. Good choice. Yes.
Yes. Hotel Del. I used to do a lot of business out there.
Yes, I've been there a couple times myself. Yes. And then right on the beach, Coronado Beach. Yes, absolutely. Good choice. There you go. Or, there's several restaurants along the pier next to the airport. Yeah, they're great places to go there as well. So, what about a Lakers game?
That's not
only if she wants to be seen.
Yeah.
I was never a big fan of taking dates. Well, I didn't really date. When I wanted something, I just got it. But if you're on a date,
here we go. Yeah, the Sultan of Temecula.
Yeah, it's most date situations is better, like Sean said, where you can talk. You can't really talk at a game. And I'm a Laker guy. I'm a sports guy. So I'm watching the game. I'm not like into chattering. I'm like McConaughey in what was that movie? The
Contact? You're just there.
Kill something in 10 days or something like that.
The one who date and
yeah. Where she kept nagging him and he's like trying to watch the Knicks game.
So let me ask you this, Joe, before we
no problem, child. No.
That's what we all wanted to ask. Because we asked that in the Lakerholics chat. Everybody's asking if you would allow your kids to date. I think he's in my line with myself.
Negative.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And cool, bro. That's something you have to realize. At 14, not every 14-year-old young lady is allowed by her family to go out at 14. So it's just the way 14 is.
Good.
Shopping mall. Study group. A lot of good options, my friend. Coronado. There you go. You talked about that as well. Joe's daughter can't date until she's 35.
Oh boy.
Well, we'll see what happens.
Can you let my kids be young and babies first? I'm dying over here.
Joe would be a great background character in a mafia movie.
Background.
Yeah. You notice they said background, not foreground on that. So, once again, it is the Lakers fast break.
As it relates to whether or not I sleep or not, hey, Gerald, it is what it is. I don't make it up.
Magic Man, I don't get sleep either, so I am not even going to go ahead and say anything about that.
It is what it is. I can't help it. It just is what it is.
It is what it is, indeed. Once again, it is the Lakers fast break. The Lakers do lose 120-101. I'm glad we finished on a good note. Alfred, again, appreciate your time. Your dating advice as well, very sound, very much appreciated indeed. And hopefully Cool Bro will take some of that into a lot of consideration right there for you, because, he already has at 14 all these grandiose plans on dating. Hotel Del Coronado. I would just be like, if my 14-year-old at that time kid comes along, yeah, I want to take your daughter over to the Hotel Del Coronado. Be like, excuse me? So I know Joe, I'd be like, I think I'm in line with Joe on that one. So I'll just leave it at that. But good luck to you, Cool Bro. We're rooting for you.
Tell us how it goes. Coronado's good.
Yes.
A lot of
and
history
it's somebody
there.
else's daughters. That's great. As long as it's not
again, she likes books.
For God's sakes, Gerald.
She likes books. He likes books. I think it's going to be very, very nice in terms of setting. Good for him.
Agreed, Zangerstein. Agreed. Very much agreed. Don't spam her with basketball details, because if you start talking sports and she doesn't dig sports,
the door.
Out the window. Yep, you are out like trout, my friend. Once again, it is the Lakers fast break. You can always talk sports with us, Cool Bro. That's always a good thing. We'll handle it. And I guess dating advice as well. We've reached a new high here at the Lakers fast break, providing love advice. It's only we can give. Go ahead, Magic, before we head on
out. Find out what she likes, like chocolate, mint chocolate. Buy her like a chocolate bar before you start talking to her, because that usually wins over a young lady before you even open your mouth.
Now, these are, again, our opinions and suggestions only. You can take them under consideration or not. That's up to you, entirely up to you. We offer no responsibility for whatever happens in your love life, my friend. That's all on you. Disclaimers are below. Actually, I should add love life in there in the disclaimer as far as some description.
I give good advice, so I don't need to add that disclaimer. This is that. You can listen to me. If you don't want to listen to Gerald or Joe, that's fine. Yeah, I don't need a disclaimer.
Okay, there you go. What if she's allergic to chocolate? Dude, then I don't know. There's only so many foods in the food chain that you can go ahead and
if
offer.
She's allergic to chocolate, that's a sin.
I don't know if that's the case, Sean. Oh, my gosh. Magic Man has much better advice. There you go, indeed. Once again,
of course I do. I'm encouraging this young man. You guys are, and Alfred is. I could tell.
He was
Joe and Gerald are married. They don't give a rip. They don't care. This is all for a hat in hand.
Go ahead, Alfred.
Especially with that guy.
I want him to succeed. He's ahead of the curve, I feel
like.
There
was a time, though, when we were hunters, though. Just remember.
That is a very fair point. Very fair point.
And now you've been neutered.
Off the rails. Off the rails, indeed. You are now officially part of the Lakers Fast Break. Thanks so much, Alfred. Truly appreciate you joining us. Check out his work at the Orlando Magic Daily, part of the fan-sided experience right there for you at orlandomagicdaily.com. Also as well, check out Joe Soro, Simblades with a Y.com, and of course what he does at LakersBall.com. Magic Man, who's always here for us here at the Lakers Fast Break, and playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. We'll be back tomorrow to try and size up the Miami Heat for you guys out there. Truly appreciate you joining us. And if more love advice is needed, if that's what will bring in viewers and audience, we might have to change the name and alter it to Lakers Fast Break and Love Advice, indeed. Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow for more great insight, analysis, and love advice as only we can give right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.